Hi everyone! It's Jaivaneese Johnson, also known as Startiism, and I am here with
Mom, Annabelle Gonzalez.
the co-founder of the Miss Brilliance pageant, virtual pageant that we created, and co-host, I like to say co-host, of our podcast and platform, Hidden Brilliance. We're officially back. This is our 4th episode, and we are doing a lot more with this platform. See, we are now branching out just from the visual videos of the podcast to now making it more accessible for other people. So this is the auditory kind of, I don't want to say ASMR, but it could be like very ASMR-y, because you'll just hear our voices and you'll see a little background, but yeah, that's what we're working with, and we want to make it all an enjoyable experience for all different kinds of scenarios. When people want to sit and listen, they're, in the car trying to get to work, they're like, ugh, let me listen to Startiism because she makes my day and she's so inspirational. Like,
Or maybe if you're in a waiting room at a doctor's office or at the DMV or something
and
like
you don't
that.
just want to read the magazines and the newspapers that are there because they're all kind of just
Boring.
boring. Yeah, so should we do an update? I think that's
Yes.
where we should totally
We have
begin.
so much to
So
update.
much to update you guys on. So first, let's begin way back to when I was a senior in high school. I decided to take an extra year at the high school because I felt that I wasn't prepared or ready for life afterwards, and I wanted to see if I could handle the workload, and it went
Fully
well,
transition.
and fully transition into the public school
school.
system.
Yeah, which was a good decision. Like at first, it was a bit scary and just, I know
Yeah.
I freaked out a little bit. First you were just like, I'm ready to graduate like everyone else, and then you were like, oops, I'm not ready, and we had to call all kinds of we had to have an emergency IEP meeting.
Yeah,
But I think it was a great decision, like for you,
it
like that
was.
that year, it brought a lot.
Looking back, I really prioritized what I felt I needed so that I could be prepared for my future. I feel, hadn't I taken that extra year to mentally prepare myself, I wouldn't be doing as well as I would be doing at Ramapo College had I not listened to my needs. So that's a very essential point in my journey, was realizing what I needed and then going on with that decision based on that. And
Yeah, you knew, you felt that
yeah,
you needed more time, you wanted to challenge yourself, you needed more, not just the academic stuff, the social stuff, you really wanted to prepare yourself.
absolutely. And I feel like it did, for the most part, because college is a totally different playing field. I definitely learned the second I began my fall semester, and I realized there's a lot of preparation and a lot of things, but I was determined and to begin on that before I even enrolled into the college that I ended up inevitably deciding to attend to.
So let's like talk about that, like your
Yeah.
decision, I guess maybe the college choice selection, because there's
Hmm.
even more stuff to go over, but what did we do?
So we did some research on different kinds of colleges because I
And we
definitely knew that I needed a college that would give me the resources that I needed while having a concentration or a major that I wanted to study in. So,
Yeah, I think that was the
yeah,
trickiest part, was finding that the right fit where you were looking for the major, and
yeah,
just kind of focusing on what do you really want to
what I want to
study,
do for my life and
and
my
then
future.
also who can meet your needs, because you
Hmm.
do have needs.
I
So
do.
matching those two could have been like really tough.
It
So
was very difficult, and eventually we did a lot of research and we found two schools that really narrowed it
our
down.
top two, we
Our
didn't
top
have a
two,
lot. We
we
had
didn't at
binders,
all. We had binders and everything. We were looking, and only
in
two
state,
really,
out of state,
yeah, everything.
but the
So
top two.
the top two was Fairleigh Dickinson and Ramapo College. So Fairleigh, I decided was because, firstly, they had a theater major. I don't exactly remember what the concentration or the major was, but it was in that theater music realm. And I liked it not only because of that, but also because I was researching if there were any sort of programs for adults with autism, special needs, and they had a program over there called Compass where it was a program for autistic adults, and
They offered a lot of services.
They definitely did.
A lot of support.
They had not counseling, but group sessions where we would, yes. And the only downfalls of that, the cons, I would say, in my personal opinion and experience when I went to the open house, was first, the second we stepped onto that campus, the environment was so overwhelming. It was a huge building, and they were separated into two areas, into two buildings, and the major that I was in, it would reside in Florham, the Florham campus, and I was definitely, like, I kind of, deep down in my heart, already kind of had a feeling that I was a bit overwhelmed, like, wow, this is a lot, and we were just trying to find the place
the massive,
during orientation.
Like, environment.
The environment was, like, crazy.
And we got lost.
We got lost a few times, and after that we were like, let's just go to the Mexican restaurant, like, we're kind of done. And we also saw the dorming situation, because at the beginning I was like, I'm gonna dorm and be independent, and things are definitely different now, but, like, I still want to have some independence, but, like, not be a little less financially drenched.
But you checked it out,
but
and you just
we did,
didn't feel like...
it didn't feel right.
You liked it, but it didn't feel like home.
I liked it, but it didn't feel like the one.
Mm-hmm.
Then we went to Ramapo. And when I say the second I stepped onto campus and saw the environment, it already felt like home.
The woodsy.
It was calm,
tranquil.
Very relaxing, and especially when it was around fall time when we went to the open house, the orange leaves and the buildings, it was definitely less overwhelming to navigate, calming, and there was another program that was there called the Enhanced Program, which had more services that I needed as opposed to the Compass services. They offered so many things. Counseling, we have a couple days a week the group meets and we talk about all different things, academic strategies.
I think that's one thing that I wasn't sure of how it would work, and then once you got your schedule, I'm like, what? You guys have, connections, you have your social event, you have
an academic workshop where they do so much. They email notifications. They do their best to ensure that their students get the best learning ever, and that was definitely what solidified me going to Ramapo College. My decision.
I think the
and the major.
Yeah, the major.
I also had to add the major. They have a 4+1 music production creative technology, which was exactly what I was looking for, because I'm a singer, but I also wanted to become more self-sufficient in what I love to do, in my art, and in creating music, because as we're speaking right now, I'm using GarageBand, and I don't play the guitar, I don't play the piano, and I wanted to be more knowledgeable about music and to become a better artist. So in order to do that, I would have to have something like a major like that could teach me about more fundamentals of music and how to become a better artist by knowing all of these essential things about music and production and all the other technical aspects of it.
But you also needed that social emotional, like that counseling component that the other schools didn't, because you knew you needed.
It did not have counseling, and I have peer mentors who help me and give me academic advice, and it's really great. They accommodate to your schedule, and we meet up, and we talk about the week, and I was introduced to many different tools that would help me. For example, Google Calendar, I started to use that for my schedule. So I have my classes on there. I have deadlines on there, which I actually still need to I need to look at my syllabi and like do that, but it's been so helpful with the way that I learn. I'm very visual. I love using colors to coordinate everything, and Google Calendar was like perfect for that. It was like great, and it really helped me narrow down and associate things with colors and deadlines, and helped a lot during my first semester, which was last semester, which was like a couple months ago. Well, it ended December. Now it's February as we speak. But
even before college, we could
even
go on and
before-
on about college, but how about we talk about that letter that came in the mail, open call, and your other journey?
yes. So let's continue on the other things that we do definitely need to discuss. So, as I'm going into my college journey, there was a lot more in store for me than I anticipated. One day, I go home from another long day of high school, and in the mail, it reads Nam. It's very pink, very Barbie, has cute little emblem on it, and my mom gets it, and we're like, what is this? This was in like May. No,
And I just thought it was
or
some random
March.
spam mail, and like I'm gonna chuck it, but I'm like, what is this? Why
What
is
is
this
this?
addressed to you? And what is
Like,
this
let's
about?
look at it. And it was an invitation to an open call for this pageant called National American Miss. And at first we were very skeptical of it. However, we did end up doing research on the pageant, and we ended up realizing that it was legit.
It was actually legit.
It
like
was actually legit, like Miss USA legit.
like it was. So when we opened it, I remember just reading like, oh, you have been invited, it's invite only, open call to National American Miss State Pageant. And I'm like, what? Pageant is not our thing, but is this real? Is this not? And then Jay says to me, Mom, I want to try it. I want to try different, because in such Jaiva fashion, she
I'm
wants to try
very-
all new things.
Yes,
Like, she wants
definitely.
to explore. It's a challenge for her. Like,
is.
any new challenge or anything that presents as new, she's like, I'm there. So I said, you know what? What's it gonna hurt? So after we researched it, and we're like, this is actually legit.
It is.
And then
I was
were
so
all-
excited, and I'm like, oh my god,
we were
like,
also like, who in the world,
who
recommended
me? Because
It's by referral.
you have to refer it. You have to know the person's address. You have to it's a process to get invited to these things, and we were like, you know what? Let's do it. So we ended up going to the open call
In
where
New
they
Brunswick.
in New Brunswick, where there were people there who explained really just what the pageant was about, what it entails, how it's very community service based, and all the things that entail, the optional contests, what's for the required contest, the community
But you know
service that
what?
we had to do.
Let's keep it real though. When we first walked in there, it was like, this is not our world. It was like, well, you saw these girls in these gowns.
There were
and
definitely
like
a lot of
crowns
sherries.
and,
Like,
and sashes, and I'm like, oh wow, it kind of felt, it was very classy and
Yes.
very like official, and I'm like, is this like, Java's not a pageant girl, like, I'm not sure about this, but they did talk about how this pageant was more of a community-based leadership type pageant, and that's something that we loved. So we're like, oh well, just let her go for the interview, and let's see if she even gets past that. Not even thinking that she would
not even
be a
thinking
state finalist.
that I would anything. So I get interviewed by one of the women there, who was the mother of Miss Pennsylvania Teen, I believe, at the time. And she just interviewed me, asking questions, and I answered them. One of them that I remember her asking was, how do you regulate? And I just explained to her how, in certain situations, how I calm myself. I discussed how headphones are a big coping mechanism that I use when I'm overwhelmed, and it's something that allows me to stay calm. And then she also asked me what tools do I use, and then I explained those, and she was like, okay. And that was it, I guess. and then we just went home, took pictures with the queens there that were representing, and after
a
that,
week or a week?
about
Was it
a week, I think it was about a week after that, we got an email back like saying you're officially a state finalist, and I was in total shock that I made it past the interview.
Yeah, we both, and I got a text message like, "Congratulations, Jaivaneese Johnson, you are a state finalist for New Jersey National American Miss." And I was like, "What? She made it? Like, what the
Yeah.
heck?" We were, not that I was, not that I doubted you, but you had never done anything like this, and
Yeah.
having the autism and your challenges sometimes with like social situations and one-on-one interview things, I wasn't sure which way it could go.
Yeah.
But anyhow, we got invited. She became a state finalist, and then our pageant journey began.
And then our pageant journey did begin. It began with community service because one part of the required competition, 10% of the score, went to doing community service. So we were trying to figure out what could we do to raise some money for the fees for the pageant, because we also had to
That
factor
wasn't
in
the community service part. That was just the fees.
Yes, that was the fees. And I decided that I wanted to give back to my old school, New Beginnings, which was the school that I've mentioned on this platform before, that basically helped me get to where I am today, where I received many of my services, my occupational therapist, my physical therapist, my speech therapists. It was a place really that was like home, and it was a special needs school. So I'm like, you know what, this represents me, and this would be a really good place to give back. So we donated some books, and I read to the children, and it was just really nice, and I really bonded with the children there, and it really felt nice. I really just felt myself, like I really envisioned myself in these younger children, and being there and being an example, and just sending that message of,
like, I'm a state finalist.
I'm a state finalist, and
I came here.
I came back from when I used to be not nonverbal, but limited, a lot more limited than I am now.
Yeah. You definitely had language when you were there.
I did,
when
but
you
it was
transitioned
different
there.
from now.
But totally different.
Totally different.
And that was community service. Then we fundraised for the fees to get to the pageant. And then it was pageants.
And then it was pageant weekend. We signed up for optional contests. We signed up for talent and spokesmodel, right? Talent and spokesmodel, that was it. And for the actual contest, it was definitely a lot. Handling the weekend, even though it was only at like 3 days, the schedule was rigorous, very rigorous, back to back. There were consistent things, and I didn't realize how overwhelming it would be, especially as an autistic individual who gets very overstimulated, overwhelmed. And it being my first experience, I didn't really know what to expect, and it was very hard to kind of keep it together, and I didn't even have a moment to use my headphones. That's how crazy it was.
Just to explain like the schedule, I don't think we knew. We definitely didn't know what we were getting into. Like they spoke about certain things, but because this was not our thing, like pageant scene was not our thing. Then we had no idea. Like when you see all these pageant queens and things like that on TV or whatever, you come across them, you're just like, oh yeah, there's the glitz and the glamour, and like that's it. They just go out there, they walk, and
they do their little Barbie smile, and
there's so much more to it.
There is really so much more to it than we anticipated. I
feel like that anyone who participates in a pageant doesn't get enough credit because they see it as such a like Barbie thing to do, or like a, not serious, not what's the word I'm looking for? It's just, it doesn't give it. There's not much credit given to pageantry that there should be, because it's not just about having no.
It's not just about the glitz and glam and a certain kind of appearance or mold.
Yeah,
It's really
these
so much
girls,
more. They
anyone,
train.
anyone who participates in a pageant is like there's more to that person than the beauty. There's substance there,
There's a
and
lot
that's
of
what it is.
dedication that's required. There's a lot of commitment. You really have to commit to the pageant. You really have to dedicate a lot of time to
But they're not
preparing
just
for it.
models and
They're
Barbies
not.
there. They're
They're not.
actually,
They're
they have to actually do things, and they have to do work, and they have to,
represent themselves, their brand. They
but there's a
have,
level of
yeah,
intellectual, like, having and knowing and talent and skill. Like, there, it's so much more than just that. So, whatever. So we just discovered that. And then on top of that, it doesn't just happen. There's tons of practice and there's tons of preparation for it. And
yeah,
this was like a super, super, like, speedy track or to, pageantry. It was like, we're going to train you, you're going to practice, and you're just going to jump in there and compete in the state pageant. And it was insane. There were things as early as 7 in the morning was like a talent
yeah,
rehearsal. So you had to hit high notes and do whatever you needed to do
yes,
that early in the morning. And then you had maybe a 5 to 10 minute window before you had to go to the next rehearsal, and then the next event, and the next rehearsal, and the next event, and outfit changes and what you needed to do and wear for a specific meeting or a gathering, which was really intense and crazy. We had to pack snacks, and
yes,
and the one thing I remember reading was like, make sure that you keep your daughters hydrated, and make sure that you have enough snacks because it will be grueling. And I'm like, what are they talking about? Like, okay, we'll have time. You barely had time for breakfast, lunch, dinner because of the schedule. So we really had to kind of organize it, and the scheduling was
yeah,
off. But, it kind of opened our eyes to a lot of things that, when people meet Jaiva in person now, at least in this moment in her
Mira,
journey,
yes.
um, they don't see the Jaiva of, like, the journey,
They
the
don't see the
Jaiva
journey.
journey.
What
They don't see that.
they don't see all the progress and all of the work I had to do to
You had
become
to
the
put it
person I
in.
had to the person I am today. And through the state pageant, I also really discovered how much I loved doing, how much I loved to spread my message of positivity and neurodiversity advocacy and shedding light on it,
Yeah,
breaking
because
down misconceptions and making people feel accepted, and be in a safe environment whenever I do my daily posts to make people feel validated and to make them feel confident and to be able to feel like they could advocate for their needs or speak up more or become more confident in the person they are and comfortable. So,
and just the other thing is, like,
mm-hmm,
people have this, we've always talked about, like, this idea of what autism is and what it looks like,
yes,
and like there's a certain look, and without going into so much of that, there are, it's a spectrum, and so many
it definitely
characteristics and
is.
things
Yes.
that, and challenges that someone who is autistic or neurodiverse might go through,
Yeah.
even though you've made so much progress. And that's the thing that I think threw us off is when you meet Jaiva, as I was saying, you meet Jaiva, and there are some people who will question her diagnosis, like, she can't be autistic, she is, too high functioning, or no way, you got to get her retested, not understanding the journey, not understanding where we were prior to. So the Jaiva of today is Jaiva with progress. And when we talk about, like, the autism diagnosis, when Jaiva was young, the diagnosis was just ASD, autism spectrum disorder.
Yeah.
Now we have the diagnosis. There's different tiers. You could be level 1, 2, 3, autistic or diagnosed at that level. I guess back then Jaiva would have been like she went from, like a level 3 to a level 1, which would have been like severe to more mild, because she did lose her language and then she regained it. So she had like regressive autism. But the point is, that was her journey. It doesn't mean that she's no longer autistic. It means that she is autistic with time and progress and oral services and everything she received. That changed where she was on the
Yeah.
spectrum, or it changed, she evolved, which is also
I
why
evolved.
it was important that we continue to track it and do that. Nonetheless, there are still things that are true to the autistic diagnosis, and all the different characteristics that Jaiva does possess and she still has today. So some that she doesn't, and some things that she still does have today. And one thing that I took for granted as well, like I had never seen, or not never, let me take that back. I hadn't seen Jaiva engage or have a meltdown or an episode in a very long
In
time.
a really, really long time.
Since she was like maybe, I don't know, what, in the sixth grade, seventh grade,
7th grade, yeah.
A high school, no, not even with all the challenges she had in
Yeah.
high school. I would
No.
say middle school really was the last time Jaiva had an outburst or a meltdown or something that we refer to, like that people
refer to as a big like meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so we actually had one during pageant weekend, and that threw us for a loop. And people might not believe us. I couldn't even believe it. I'm like, I don't know what's going on with her. Like, what in the world is this? I'm like, she's stuck in her head and I don't know what to do. And it wasn't
really even about me. Well, part of it was about me being stuck in my head, but also I just felt like really overwhelmed. And on top of that, it just like all like kind of
schedule was overwhelming. Schedule was overwhelming. And the other thing that's very much a challenge and still very real for Jaiva is the social piece, right? So the social component is different for everyone who's diagnosed on the spectrum. Some might not be able to socialize at all because they don't know how to have that, dialogue, the communication going. They can't read cues. That's not exactly what we're talking about with Jaiva, but she does have a big social component. Jaiva could be so outgoing, and she's such a extrovert when it comes to her performance, and she gets out on stage and she transforms to this person. Like I've always said it, whether there's one person in front of her or 1,000, Jaiva will put on a show and performance, just alike. And that's part of, I feel, her autism superpower, is that she's oblivious to who's there and how many people are there in that moment.
I don't focus on it. I really just focus on mentally in my head my objective and what am I doing, how am I representing myself to others when I'm performing, what story am I trying to visually portray. And that's kind of, I only think about that. I honestly don't think about it until after. I try not to think about it.
And then she always talks about how she drifts and becomes that person. So if she's doing a cover or something, she's like, I literally became Whitney in that moment. I literally was Beyonce. I literally was,
I really try to
Cynthia Erivo. She just really becomes she just feels like it's
my alter ego turns on. I switch.
But however, when it comes to social situations of a different kind, speaking to people or engaging and starting conversations with people she's never known before or met, even amongst this, friendly girl group, she doesn't really, you get stuck on starting conversations and how to go up to someone and what to say to them.
Yeah.
And I know I'm always just talk to them, just go and talk, have girl talk. But it's not so easy for someone who's on the spectrum.
A lot of people mistake me being a social person for me not at all having difficulties with conversating with social interactions, and they just think, oh, good, just go talk to them. It's not that easy. It really isn't as easy as people think.
Because you're such an extrovert, and because you're such a performer and you're out there, you could have 1 million leads, you can do 1,000 open mics, but when it comes to that personal one-on-one conversation or having conversations and initiating friendships or opening up, you are not that person. It's so crazy.
It isn't. My performance self is different from the person I am when it comes to talking to people. They're completely separate. I'm still social, don't get me wrong, but...
So that was an issue during the pageant weekend because of the interactions, but also one of the largest components of the pageant was the interview component, where Jaiva needed to participate in like a round robin interview situation with 8 judges, and they all had to ask her questions, and they were timed, and she had to stay on task and on topic, and she was literally freaking out about it.
Yeah.
We tried to prep with some questions, and I was asking her questions, and I can tell.
Very much doubting myself every time I felt like I wasn't answering a question perfect enough or right enough because of what I'd seen with the other girls. I started to kind of feel very much in my head with how I speak, and it started to affect me and how I was acting because I felt like I really had to perfectionalize myself. Like everything I said had to be perfect or said a certain way. And if in my mind I didn't say it that certain way, it really played.
Especially if I gave her feedback, or, and it wasn't even like negative feedback. I would say,
Yeah.
oh, that was perfect, but you know, you didn't really answer this part of the question, or don't forget to add this because this is an important key, and you want to make sure, like, any little feedback that I gave her, even if it was, you know, positive, and just because I really was trying to
Yeah.
encourage her.
I was really just frustrated with myself for
Yeah.
not being able to, I guess, in my mind, like, do it perfectly or do it right. Like, dang, like, I can't get this right. Like, it was really, like, I was getting mad with myself. Like, not seeing as, like, oh, I could just try again. It was just, like, oh, I keep failing. I keep messing up. Like, I keep not answering it right. Like,
So,
I'm really
meanwhile,
nervous.
that's what was going on in
Yeah.
her head. I'm not in her head. However, you know, all of a sudden it transformed into the craziest blank stare that I got, and just, you know, like a deer in headlights type of situation. And then she just started to like hysterically cry.
I
Like
just started
she was
bawling.
bawling and hyperventilating, and literally she was in full face makeup, she was in her interview attire, and I'm like, oh no, like we have 20 minutes to get down to interview, and she is hysterical right now. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, get it together, girl. Like,
You just started yelling at me, like, girl, if you don't get it, like, she was so mad.
I was,
You were mad.
I just couldn't understand it, and I really felt awful after, because I couldn't understand it. And I'm like, okay, first I tried the calm thing, and I tried to, you know, get her back on track. I'm like, you got this. Like, I don't understand why, when I saw the tears starting to well up. And then it was just like, okay, nothing I'm saying is registering, and it's getting me frustrated. So I was just like, what is the deal? Like, you cannot
You got so
do this.
mad at me, and, like, it made it worse. Like, I started to get more anxious. Like, I'm like, oh my god.
But she wasn't stopping either way, whether I was back. Like, she was hysterical as she couldn't get it together. And I was like, you have literally, like, we have to be downstairs in 10 minutes. You're sobbing, your makeup, your whatever. You have to get it together. I'm like, just put your big girl panties on, get it together, and we have to go down. She's like, okay, you're right. It was just really bizarre. And I'm like, oh my God, I felt awful. My heart was so broken, and I had to immediately call a friend, and you know, someone who's in the field also, to kind of be like, I don't know what happened to her. And
I was just really overwhelmed, and, like, I just felt, like, frustrated because, like, I'm like, I can't do anything. Like, these girls are doing this so effortlessly, and I'm just like, I can't. Like, I was frustrated.
She just was in her head, she can't do it, and that's it. She's done, and that was it. And I couldn't get her back. And so, anyhow, long story short, we snap out of it. I walk her downstairs. I make my phone call. And when I called, and, you know, again, Jaiva had a home programmer that was like, that's an angel.
Literally the best ever.
Yeah, Jaiva is the person who she is because of her. But I reached out. I'm just like, you know, I don't get it. I don't. And then the one thing that they said, like, in this processing, was, well, does she have access to her headphones? Like, does she have, because music is a huge thing for her. And if you see Jaiva and you know her, she has
them all the
headphones
time.
in every color. They're not noise canceling headphones, but they are. They do cancel noise, but that's not the reason why she wears them. She wears them for music and to kind of tune things out.
But they're not your
But they're not your traditional noise canceling headphones with no sound or anything, and just to muffle everything.
I think I would go crazy if it was that.
Yeah,
quiet.
but Jaiva relies heavily on her headphones. If she's not wearing them to listen to music, they're around her neck. It's like her comfort object. It's even something that we talked to the college about. You know, can she have her headphones during class and what accommodations can be? And here we were, pageant weekend, and it didn't occur to me that her schedule was so grueling, and it was back to back to back to back to back to back to back, you know, hours upon hours, one difficult task
so
after
much.
another, and Jaiva did not have her headphones, not once. Not once did she have.
I didn't even, and my other comfort thing is being able to go on my phone. I barely went on my phone that week. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't on my phone at all. I wasn't on my phone, which usually I would use as a regulation, like, to look at different things that I like to watch or scroll. It's very therapeutic for me, and I didn't have either of that. I didn't have my phone. I didn't have my headphones.
Or
So-
any of your. Jaiva does have some. Jaiva likes like the deep pressure or the weighted objects. Like she'll
I
love.
have my little hope,
Yeah.
which was a
her
weighted plush
hug,
that was given to me.
like
It's a hug.
It's a weighted hug. It's like
It's a
a
weighted hug.
plush animal doll, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
animal, and it has extra long arms that you can
To
wrap
just hug
around her
me.
neck,
Yeah.
and she loves that thing. So she didn't have that. She didn't have the weighted bear or anything. She didn't have anything because we had so much to pack, and we didn't even think she would need this. It was just a weekend, whatever. Long story short, you know, I came to the realization as soon as that happened, I like called upstairs and I'm like, grab her headphones. I want to make sure that I have them on, you know, on deck as soon as she comes out of interview. Like, I feel so awful now. Like, when she started to become anxious, that would have been the time for me to hand her her headphones and say, listen to your music for 5 minutes, or, you know, go tune out. And it could have brought her to a better place. Like, it could have regulated her. She would have still been a little nervous about the situation, but she would have been a lot more regulated and not had that huge meltdown that like was just really, it threw us for a loop.
It
Anyhow,
was bad.
let's fast forward past that. You know, she went through the interview, and believe it or not, once she got her scores back at the end of everything, that's one of the things she like scored the highest.
I really scored high, and like, if I hadn't had that breakdown, my score would have been higher. But I also did very well in other things that we didn't expect, which was the optional competitions. I won spokesmodel, and one of the speeches that I did was about autism advocacy, and that got me a full, like, the highest score that you could get was like an 8, right? It was like an 8. I got a full 8. I got a whole 8 for my first ever pageant, just doing what I love, advocating, and I used my spokesmodel energy, and I won, and that gave me a golden ticket to nationals, even though I didn't win anything like an official state title. I came back with still a lot more than I ever thought I did.
So for her first pageant, her first ever pageant, being on the spectrum, first ever pageant, going in there blindsided, like we knew nothing. We didn't have a pageant coach. I was the coach, and
she was my coach.
I was it. And let me tell you, I don't get into anything without like, we're in it to win it.
We're in it to win it, baby.
And I know you, so I'm like,
Yeah.
let's do this and let's do that. Anyhow, she came home that weekend with, she had best resume. She was the winner of best resume for New Jersey. She was Miss Spirit for New Jersey.
Yes.
She got the talent, what was it,
Second
runner-up for talent.
Yeah.
She won spokesmodel. So she won 4 different categories or awards in the state.
Yes.
Pageant, which did lead her, it earned her a City Queen title, and it really, you know, she got invited to nationals because of that. And all I could remember is the parents or the moms around me saying, you know, this is her first pageant. Like, oh my goodness.
They were very surprised.
And they kept
honestly.
calling her name. They were like, oh my God, her name. Like, they were surprised that she had never done this and that she did so well for her first pageant. There were girls who were there forever and
for
did not
years.
get any,
Did not
you know,
get one thing. And it broke my heart seeing that, because I felt really bad. And I was like, oh my god, like, imagine all the work they put into this, and like, that's kind of the result of it, you know?
So there we go. Jaiva was on her way or on her journey to nationals, because it was like, all right, she got this, and now she's like, that's it. If I got invited to nationals, I'm going to
I'm
nationals.
going, yeah. I was
and
really
nationals was in
determined.
Florida, so we definitely were like, oh my gosh, we got to talk about this, because not only it's nationals, that's next level, but she was starting college. How could she manage college?
How could I manage college and National American Miss? It was very challenging, especially still adjusting to the college life and then having to experience pageantry on a whole other level, along with all of my, I would do open mic performances and I would do these other things. It was a lot to balance and
But
trying
you
to
did it.
maintain my grades. But I did it, with the assistance of Enhance and receiving advice and time management that I've improved on a bit, and the friends that I have, and having those little breaks in between while still trying to practice for the pageant.
So
It all worked
for
out.
nationals, we became like almost pros at Jaiva's regulation and what will help Jaiva. So based on the
Yeah.
pageant, it wasn't just a regulation, but based on the pageant, her organization.
My organization. My organization isn't the best. I'm gonna be honest. I'm aware of it.
Thing. So for nationals, because now we're going to be gone for a week,
Big.
not a weekend. We had to really implement a lot of different systems to kind of help her out because of her
Yes.
autism. So, we definitely packed the sensory 911. She had her headphones that were going to be on deck. We had her, what do you call it, that huggable?
I had Lucky.
You're lucky. You had Lucky. She had Lucky with her. We had some fidgets with us. We were ready. And then, as crazy as it may sound, and everyone has their own little thing, but for Jaiva, I had to have or purchase multiple wardrobe bags, so that it was literally, this is your, universal character day, like your full outfit.
Because they had different themes for
jewelry.
each day, for
They
each
had-
gathering
Yes.
that they would have.
No.
I loved that. That was one of my favorite parts of the pageant.
Nationals was a whole nother ball
It was a
game.
blast.
They had neon party. They had ugly Christmas sweater theme. They had universal character. They had
Pajama day.
What else?
I had my little bonnet, my Care Bear bonnet.
It was just insane.
It was great.
Oh,
It was
Patriot
just
Day.
crazy. Yeah.
Patriot Day.
Absolutely.
That universal picture day. Like, there were so many things that we had to organize and just keep all together and figure out what would make sense if there's no time.
There was a lot of organization that had to be implemented.
Yeah, and so for Jaiva, what worked was, just different wardrobe bag for different even if it was, you could pack a couple of things in one wardrobe bag. We just used one and put all of the jewelry and all of the accessories and everything in there, and then number them per day.
Yeah,
I had to
we
have daily
organized
schedule.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Everything was
These are Monday
perfectly
earrings,
organized by
Tuesday,
you.
like all
Monday
put
earrings,
together.
Tuesday earrings. This earring is for this outfit. We had to elevate our wardrobe, my formal wear, because
Hair,
that was the
makeup.
lowest. Hair, makeup. I got my little extension curls, which I love. I'm trying to grow my hair out now,
Which was a nightmare for
but
me,
it was crazy for her, but I loved it.
But
It was nice for me.
we figured it out, and snacks, and we had the
Snacks.
Stanleys and the
My little
bags.
Stanley cup
Yeah, because we're like, that'll last her all day. I
all
could put
day.
apple
My
juice
little
in
apple
there.
juice.
But we were super prepped for it, and she was super regulated for
Super
nationals.
regulated. I was in a high mood.
You were the most confident ever, where I was freaking out because
You were
I'm like,
freaking out.
this is
I
nationals.
was like, oh my god, this is nationals. We gotta get this ready. We gotta get that ready.
No, but
Like,
I also thought, like, this is nationals. Like, I don't understand how she's not nervous. She was, like, so confident. Well, we laughed because her intro, your intro.
my intro, I feel like I could have prepared more. In definitely more aspects.
My heart was
posture.
racing. No, my heart was racing because I'm like, oh my God, She's going to be timed if they ding her, because that's the other thing. You
I
have
was
to do
dinged
everything
the
timed
last time.
for states.
For state, I was dinged because I blanked and I recovered, but I did blank, and that lowered the score. But I still had a relatively high score for that. But
you did. But for nationals, oh
yeah,
my goodness,
it was definitely nerve-wracking.
But you had the highest score also. Like, your intro was great, but
Yes.
and because we knew you got dinged and you froze, we were just nervous about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, this time around, I think I was even more nervous. And I'm texting her. She has her phone backstage, and I'm like, "Are you okay? How are you feeling?" She's like, "I'm great. I'm so psyched. I'm ready to go."
I was hyping myself up, honestly, because there were times where, I did have nerves, but I was, at the end of the day, just
oh my gosh, she was just excited, in a good way,
I
not
really
like
was.
nervous. And everyone else was like, I can't tell you, no, there was not one girl
so
as excited.
I was just excited. I was happy.
You were so happy, but she was so happy that she totally forgot her stance on stage.
I forgot I had to stand straight. I kind of did like a Donkey Kong stance. Like,
oh my gosh, it was so
in the
crazy.
Middle of the line.
I was like, what happened to her pageant pose?
Because in the pageant pose, like, before you go up to do your introduction, you line up, and you kind of have to do it at an angle and keep your feet in that nice little straight. Your body has to be straight, arms back, and smiling. But you can't have the nervous smile, but you have to smile.
You look like a football player ready to tackle.
I looked back, and I'm like, oh my god, I didn't even realize I was doing it, because I was just so excited, thinking like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. I got too comfortable on stage. Like,
it was insane. And I was like, Lord, please help her not mess up, because now, when you have too much adrenaline going, I'm like, she's going to mess up because she's too hyped up. She's like, arms are at her waist. She's got her legs spread apart and not pageant stances. She's just smiling and looking everywhere. And when I tell you, she put on the best performance of her life. That intro was amazing. Like, so many girls and people who heard her intro after, one girl came up to her, I remember and she said, what did she say to you?
She was like, I loved your introduction, it was so powerful.
No, the other one who was like, if you don't win,
if your introduction doesn't win, I don't know what will.
Yeah. It was great, and people were just like, you're so amazing, you're so inspiring. But she just got out. How about you give them the intro? Do you remember the intro? Go ahead, girl.
Yes. I'm trying to in my brain. At 15 months old, I lost my language and was diagnosed with autism. Through years of therapy and early intervention, I found my voice, and now I use it with confidence. Let me just pull up the Google Doc. Let me give you guys, I just want to make sure. I feel like I know it, but like, I don't want to.
She doesn't want to mess up.
I don't want to mess up.
And I put you on the spot, but still, it's okay.
It's okay. Okay. No, wait. This is it. At 15 months... Oh, I was right. Girl, I gotta stop doubting myself. I'm over here like, I didn't get it right. I have it right here. Okay. I got it. I got it. At 15 months old, I lost my language and was diagnosed with autism. Through years of therapy and early intervention, I found my voice, and now I use it to make the world more inclusive. Founder of an inclusive virtual pageant, Miss Brilliance Universe, and host of the Hidden Brilliance podcast, I break stereotypes, highlighting diverse minds as an advocate. You can see me writing poetry, performing at open mics, and teaching my original song, Who I'm Meant to Be, while sharing my coloring book, 100 Affirmations for the Neurotastic, across schools. Navigating college and maintaining my Dean Scholarship, I'm proof that your biggest battles can be turned into purpose and power. From Union City, New Jersey, I'm Jaivaneese Johnson, your voice and the voice of my neurodiverse community.
Oh, it was something like that.
It was something like that. I think this is for something else.
No, I think that's the one that you edited. But the point is,
she
was on...
I killed it.
She was on point, and she was on point with her spokesmodel as well. I was very proud of her, and... here we go. Nationals. What happens at Nationals? Jaiva now hasn't had a full year because state
Yeah.
pageant was in August and nationals was in November. So that was just a few months
That was a
later.
few months. That was August,
Mind
September.
you, there are girls who have been doing this pageant
Like only
thing
4
for,
months.
yeah. There are girls who have been doing this pageant thing for years. For years.
For years.
Years and years and years. I mean, I heard parents say, oh, this is our third national. She hasn't brought home anything. You know, other parents saying, you know, she's been doing pageantry for 7 years and 10 years. And like some girls were getting their 5-year pins. Jaiva had 4 months. 4 months. And for states, she brought home 4, you know, got 4 golden tickets to lead her to nationals. And in nationals, what did you get?
At nationals, I was first runner up for
Young author.
young author, and then I won 4th runner up for America's Junior Miss
4th runner up
I got
for an America's
2
Junior Miss title.
awards, and I got a call back for one of the other optional contests called Artist of the Year,
Music
where I
Artist
had
of
to
the Year.
do a live audition in front of real people in the music industry.
You got the Spirit of
And
Pageantry
I got
Award.
Spirit of Pageantry Award, which was really awesome as well.
But she definitely, you know, came, impressed people, and everyone was
Yeah.
blown away by, like,
I was shocked that I
she's
even
never done
got
pageants. Yeah.
one thing, let alone 2 things. Even if it wasn't like an action, like I won it, but I was awarded with something that, like, it's really difficult to obtain.
Right. And so, you know, Jaiva definitely wants to conquer the world. And so before that, though, in between the state pageant and nationals, she also had to come up with a community service project. So she was working on creating her song and a coloring book.
And a coloring book, which is soon to be published. It is called 100 Affirmations for the Neurotastic, and it's a coloring book that's basically just filled with 100 affirmations, and they are very positive towards the neurodiverse community to make neurodiverse children feel loved and feel included and represented.
And she also said to me after that state pageant and knowing that it was community service, you know what, Mom, this was such a great experience for me. You know, I loved it so much, but I kind of feel like everyone should have the opportunity to do this. Like, and people should not be, you know, judged
Shouldn't
on that
have to
too.
be judged on.
And she
Yeah.
was just thinking about her community. The
I was thinking a
neurodiverse
lot about the
community,
neurodiverse community
and
based
how,
on.
you know, they might not be able to do what she was doing.
Mhm.
They might not be able to answer questions for interview or get up there and do an intro or go up there and do these things. You know, some have no language. And, you know, how fair is it that there isn't something out there for girls like that?
It's very
So,
unfair.
yeah,
It's very
so that
unfair.
prompted her.
I really was thinking about from my personal experience with the pageant and what I've seen many neurodiverse individuals go through, and I thought about people who would love it, and it prompted me to create a virtual platform designated for neurodiverse women, neurodiverse young girls to be included, just with a simple Google form. I decided on my Instagram platform, to create a virtual pageant called Miss Brilliance Universe, which I'm now the founder of, and you've been an incredible co-founder for that as well, helping me navigate all of it and manage the account and manage how I run it and finding amazing women to represent the virtual pageant and to highlight. And if you guys are wondering how this pageant works, essentially it really just is there's a link in the bio, and in that bio you just have to
In your
share a few
Instagram
things
bio.
in my Instagram bio. You just have to share a few things about yourself, your name, age, where you're from, things about you, your diagnosis, whether
What
it's
makes you
autism,
brilliant.
ADHD, what makes you brilliant, what you want to do, your passions, all of that. And you get a printable certificate, and you are highlighted on our page.
You send them a letter, you send them the certificate, and then you
and then we
create posters and you highlight them on your
we
feed.
highlight them on my story and on my post, and
It's
each girl gets their
so
own,
great.
based on the age divisions, they have their own unique little template. So by the colors, it's very much galaxy star, because they're all their own unique stars, and we
it
have
ties,
title names.
It ties to her Startiism.
It ties to my Startiism
kind
platform.
of whole thing. So Jaiva put a lot of thought into like the different divisions and what she would call them and why. But also the platform, just for anyone out there, we do need more queens. We're looking for more queens, neurodiverse queens. We've had girls who have come out and shared their journey as dyslexic, their journey with their ADHD, cerebral palsy. Like we have, it's a spectrum of neurodiverse queens. So we're not excluding anyone. We are definitely looking for more
very
queens.
Inclusive, with all different stories.
And we want to share that. And so if you know some queens out there, whether they're verbal or not, whether they're non-speaking or have a language, we, and a family member, a friend can fill out the form and just share the information so that we can highlight that very special queen on there. We're definitely, we want to make it a big, huge thing. So please check out the Miss Brilliance Universe.
Please check it out. It would mean the entire world to us. And we made it this way so that it could be accessible to anyone, because I believe that everyone should have the opportunity to be highlighted and to be seen for the amazing individual that they are, regardless of their differences and regardless.
Share the handle with everyone.
It is called Miss Brilliance Universe, at Miss Brilliance Universe on Instagram. And if you guys want to follow up with my podcast platform, it is called Hidden Brilliance Unveiled. So you guys can keep up with that and see all the things that I'm doing on this platform, along with my Miss Brilliance Universe pageant.
So you gotta check it out on Instagram, Miss MISS Brilliance.
And in the bio of the visual version that we will also be uploading, because this is the auditory version. However, we also have a visual version that we will be uploading. And in the description of the podcast YouTube video, we are going to have the link to the account there with the link as well.
But if you're not there and you're listening, why don't you
spell this out, all lowercase, at Miss Brilliance Universe.
You spell it out.
MISSB. I thought you meant oh.
They're hearing you. They're hearing you. You gotta spell it out.
I do have to spell it out. I do have to spell it out. Miss Brilliance Universe on Instagram at MISSBRILLIANCEUNIVERSE.
So all you gotta do is search Miss Brilliance Universe.
Search Miss Brilliance.
And you'll find a Google form on there, and you'll be able to see some of the queens who already have been recognized on the platform.
Yes. I can't wait to see what comes out of this. We are so excited for what is to come, for the amazing, amazing people, the amazing new future queens that could come out of this, and for those who we could inspire and shed a light on from this episode. Is there anything else you'd like to add, my amazing co-founder, co-host?
No, I think this was another great one. We probably were yapping about a couple of things, but it was important to cover, like, your journey, an update, well, I guess the last thing is Jaiva also entered another pageant.
Entered a virtual pageant.
Because she wants to conquer the world now.
I really honestly have kind of developed a passion for pageantry. I've really loved it, and
I think it's because it's a huge platform to share your advocacy and
is a great big platform.
Discuss it. And she also wants to be the first, autistic queen everywhere, for every category, every pageant, anything. She wants to represent neurodiversity. I want to represent
my community.
Yeah. And so anyhow, she entered another pageant.
I entered
the drum roll.
Wait. So I am officially Miss New Jersey. for the United Crown of America pageant, which is a virtual pageant. So I'm really excited to represent for my state and for any neurodiverse individual who's in the country and in the state. So yeah, shout out to
And
that.
I'm gonna go for nationals
Mhm.
in September with that one, and she's also recompeting for NAM in August for
In
state.
August for state.
Well, we're hoping. So
We're hoping.
if you
I
would
should
like to
still be
help
eligible. If you'd like to help
and sponsor
us, that would be incredible. It would do so much to allow my dreams to come true and become National American Miss New Jersey. That's one of my biggest things. I want to become a state queen really bad. I want to work hard for it. I know this is going to be my second year with NAM, going into my second year. Because last year was my first year, and it was amazing. And I know that I'm going to work twice, 100 times more hard than I did last year now, because I have a better idea of what to expect. Even though it's going to be a new age division, the older age division, because last year I was National American Miss in the teen division. So now I'm moving on to the next, which is a little nerve-wracking because there's older girls, more experienced, more Sherrys. For those who don't know what a Sherry is, a pageant experienced girls, and Sherry Hill is a very known name in the pageant industry. So people say, like, oh, that's a Sherry. So there's a lot of Sherrys, but, I am just going to represent my cause and
with
what I have to bring with confidence
and preparation.
And with my coloring book that is actually going to be published soon. So it'll be on Amazon. So if you guys want to look out for that, 100 affirmations for the neurotastic.
All right. I think that this was a great...
was a great
updated episode, and
yes.
we look forward to discussing many other topics. This was just like a welcome back, kind of a welcome back, guys, and we have much more to talk about.
A lot more to discuss
with other guests and friends
other
and people.
Guests and people who I've worked with who are good friends of mine, and yeah.
So no matter what time you're listening to this, either have an amazing rest of your day or an amazing night.
Afternoon. I love you guys. Have an amazing Startastic day. Mwah.